2020-21 meeting of the Newburgh IDA to order, and they just started testing the sound system upstairs. I apologize if I say something weird because I was a little bit distracted when they do that. But here we are, still in the pandemic. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. That our guest this evening. We are going to, so first I'll take a roll call. We have with us board members Marlon Ramos, Michael Kelly, Nancy Thomas, Chrissy Amato, Greg Nato. Adam is not yet on. Did I miss any of my board members? I don't think so, other than myself. Executive Director Sheriff Vickers, a handful of our esteemed counselors at law, and a handful of guests. And there's actually board member Adam Pollock. The first thing we're going to do is we have to take a vote to go into executive session. Just for the guests, that means we'll be putting you out in a waiting room, a virtual waiting room, because have certain matters to discuss surrounding the disposition of real property and pending anticipated ongoing litigation. So I will take a motion to go into executive session.
I move that we go into executive session.
Thank you, Nancy. Do I have a second?
Second. I second.
I think Greg got that one. Thank you, Greg. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carried.
All right, I make the motion to leave
Thank you,
executive session.
All right, I'll take a second. Thank you, Chrissy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carried.
Okay. We'll let everybody back in.
All right. Okay, we're officially out of executive session. No decisions were made in executive session. Reading and approval of the minutes. All board members were distributed the minutes. I'm sorry, I didn't do proof of notice of the meeting. The meeting was duly noticed, and proof of that is in all of the board packets and will be posted online in short time after the meeting. Reading and approval of minutes, the members were distributed minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January meeting?
I move we approve the minutes of the January meeting.
Thank you, Nancy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mike. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining, motion carried. Report of the treasurer, Mr. Ramos.
All right. So as of January 12th, the opening balance is 280,738 with 25 cents. We had a few deposits coming from AT&T, Central Hudson, Sprint, and T-Mobile for the total of 12,356 with 40 cents. Actually, that also, we have an additional coming in from Katiana, Mahan, and
Catania Man and Ryder.
yeah, an additional 4,551 with 2 cents. We have a few bills to pay, adding up to 17,000 with 17.4 cents. Closing the books at 268,071 with 63 cents. Our application funds staying the same as month over month. Our tenant account staying the same as month over month. The money market account, 749,956 with 45 cents, an increase by $63.69 to 750,000 with $20.14. So for today, we need 2 separate approvals, one to approve the report and a separate approval to pay the bills.
All right. Anybody have any questions about the report?
Hmm.
Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Do I have a second?
Second.
I think Greg got that one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstains.
Also moved.
Excuse me. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nancy, I believe. So it was Mike and then Nancy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstaining, motion carried. That's
was-
it for,
That was
sorry.
for January. Sorry, I'm sorry. That was for February.
This
My
is,
internet was like a little wonky for a second. So we
Right.
need to approve the bills for January and February. So because we just need to clean up for January. So what we did was just for February.
okay. So
The
we have-
motion was to pay the bills. It doesn't need to be specifically for January and then specifically for February.
Yes, this time.
Okay, let me redo the motion. So scratch that. Do I have a motion to pay the January bills?
So moved.
All right, so Mike and then Adam, I don't think he's seconded or moved yet, so I'll give that to him. Sorry, Chrissy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstaining, motion carried. Do I have a motion to pay the February bills?
So moved.
Mike, you're on fire. Do I have a second?
Thank you.
I second.
All right, thank you, Greg. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining. All right, motion carried. And that concludes the treasurer's portion, right, Marlon?
Yes.
Thanks. All right, let's see what we got next. Chairman's report. I don't really think I have a report. I don't think I do, so I'll just leave it at that, unless anybody can think of something that they think I'm supposed to address. We'll move on to council's report.
Good evening. Always good to join you. I really only have updates. We have 2 active applications, which you know about, and one of which I think is with us tonight. We've working on the UTEP policy. And on Scobie Drive, the last update is unfortunately no change. They're still waiting for DEC to resolve the issue. So I check in with them about every 3 weeks. So hopefully that moves at some point.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I was looking to see if I could unplug my headphones because the funk bands upstairs stopped playing, but I'll just leave them on for now.
You could always start dancing like the guy last
Hey,
night.
there you go.
You don't want to see that. You really don't want to see that, I promise. I have some modicum of respect for our guests.
Can't be worse than the guy last night during the Super Bowl.
I think I only paid attention during the commercials anyway. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, Counselor. Executive Director's report. Share.
So there's a lot happening behind board meetings. We have 2 new grant applications in besides the one for Orchard Valley. They were given their check, so that has been completed, and I did a site visit. So I actually saw what they bought with the money that they were reimbursed for. So I'll be meeting with Mike and Marlon to discuss the new 2 grant applications. We have received an application from Attic Labs, who is here at our board meeting today, and they'll be presenting regarding that application. However, Bob and I are still reviewing that in the background. We also have received another application for a mortgage and sales tax exemption that I'll be reviewing and reporting back to you on shortly. 104 Washington was initially on the agenda, but they will not be appearing at tonight's board meeting because they're going to wait to see how the UTEP plays out, and they'll also be finalizing their application. The subcommittee for the UTEP sent the general board the draft UTEP that we have. It's kind of nice that you guys are all here at the moment. We should schedule a special meeting just to discuss that, because that that's a whole other, we don't want to mix it with all of this. Pretty much it's going to be a while. I don't know if you guys want to throw out some dates. It's a whole lot easier than doing this on an email chain. But our next board meeting should be, I think, March 15th, if I'm correct.
Yes, right?
I would throw out maybe February 15th or February 22nd, if that works with the majority of you. But again, it's something that you'll really need to read, digest, ask me or Bob any questions you have beforehand. You don't have to wait till the special meeting of the UTEP to discuss your questions. You can certainly
Right.
ask me why certain things are put in there on purpose before. So
The 15th is President's Day. I mean,
Yes.
not that it really matters, because, I mean, maybe people are traveling, but, yeah, maybe the 22nd.
It's
Yeah, I'm
good for
good
me.
with either of those dates. That's fine.
is that working for Mike and
For me,
Greg and Nancy and everybody? Most part, yeah.
I'm good.
Okay.
Either
So
are fine.
sorry. Either of them are fine. Are either of them fine for all of you, whether it's the 15th or the 22nd? I would prefer the 15th because it gives us more time to get things done
Right.
than pushing it back. So
fine.
15.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, I kind of
Either one.
prefer the 15th if it doesn't mess up anybody's vacation plans, because then I don't have to take time away from my kid. So
Oh, so
yeah, that'd be good.
there we go. So I will do what I need to do to make that happen for the 15th.
Okay.
Send out the notice.
What time? What time is that?
Usually the 6th, right? Works for
Good, Pete.
Yeah, I might as well go with the 6 p.m. as long as that's okay with everybody.
everyone? Okay. And if you have not sent me your evaluations, your confidentiality evaluations, I think I'm missing it from 4 of you. You can please send that to me, email.
Am I one of those 4?
No.
Okay, making sure. See,
Just know it's 4. I don't remember exactly who, but I know it's not you. And that's about it for me. But yeah, it's really important that you guys go through those emails with regards to the UTEP and the other things that you have going on in the background.
yeah, and I think I said this before, but I'll just reiterate it. This is like the basis of what we do. So I'm asking everybody to really just sit down and try to focus on it for enough time for you to get in the zone and really think about it, so we can really have a robust discussion about it.
Yeah, and I think Austin understands it really well. I understand it really well. So again, like if you want to have a conversation, call me on the phone and we can talk about.
Chrissy understands it really well.
Right, Chrissy, Bob, any one of us who understand it really well, will be happy to do UTEP 101 for a few minutes just so you can really grasp what it is, okay?
Absolutely.
And I think, yeah, that's it from me.
Great, thank you. But no more than 3 of us are allowed to talk about it at any time. That would violate open meetings law.
Right.
That's what the next meeting is going to be for.
Yeah.
New business. Do we have any new business to discuss? Old business. Under that, we're going to have our Attic Labs presentation, right? Great. So thank you, Attic Labs crew, for joining. I see Andrew and Jake and Michelle. I apologize to the other gentlemen. I think I'm meeting for the first time, or maybe I had a funk band playing last time too and was distracted, so I apologize, but I'll let you guys take the floor. Thank you for joining again.
Great. Good to be here, team. Thanks for having us. Always a pleasure, and glad to have this opportunity to share an update on where we're at with the Foundry and present our formal application. So with that, Austin, as you mentioned, I'm joined by Eric, Mike, and Richard on the team who I don't think have been to this forum before. Andrew, who you know, and Keith Leibel, who'll be joining us as soon as he gets in. So he might pop in as we kick off the presentation. So I'm happy to share my screen and present this. I don't know if we circulated a presentation at 6. Oh, I don't know if I have screen sharing capabilities. There we go.
There you go.
Found it. Great. Okay, so I'm assuming everybody can see that okay?
Yes.
Excellent. So we have submitted an application for IDA support for the development of the Foundry. And we don't anticipate that folks have had a chance to go through the full formal application. But we do want to give you a high-level presentation at this point to add some context to the request and to give you as much information as we can to help you in making your decision and facilitating the support of this project. And so just before I kind of kick off and jump in, I see Keith's joined as well. Hey, Keith, we're just getting started. So
Great.
Good timing. I'll give you a little bit, I won't spend long on this. We've talked about the history of this project in the past, and we're all aware of it. I think the main thing I want to point out here is that, a couple things. One, we only went back to 1981. We could have gone back to 1832, but decided not to. It was really in 1981 and more like 1988 when this project really started going through its first phases of development and opening. And the main point we want to make here is that it's been over 40 years or approximately 40 years, and phase 3 is still yet to come to completion. So we're here to change that. There's been challenge within the city and within this project, and we all know the potential of what it can be. And we're committed to being the final point on this timeline before it opens. A couple pictures of what the Foundry looks like today. It's a beautiful building, unfortunately boarded up. People should be living here. They should be building their lives here. They should be building community, both at this building and within the greater city of Newburgh. And this building physically should be a beautiful structure that people drive past and are impressed with the entire city and see the potential of building their lives here. And instead, we've got this structure that's boarded up and gives the opposite impression. There's graffiti on the side of the building, it's in disrepair, and gives the wrong impression for not just this location, but the whole city. Here's the courtyard inside, should be enjoyed and built out and finished for all 120 residents of this building. And that's what we're proposing and what we plan to do along with your support. So beyond the physical and the cosmetic side of this building, we wanted to take you through what are some of the more quantifiable, quantitative and qualitative aspects of this project that highlight the significant economic development opportunity that's in front of us and that we can all participate in. There's no other project like this in the city of Newburgh. It's unique in terms of its scale, its physical presence, and its location within the city. And we believe that it is one of the most, the buildings that has the most potential within the whole city. And that's exciting. We get to have the opportunity to build 59 additional rental units alongside the existing 61 current units. And our development plan would benefit those existing residents and help restore the common elements and fix the disrepair, the leaking roof, and the other aspects of that project that needs to get completed so that those folks can go on and enjoy their lives in Newburgh. We'd be providing housing for 105 new high-earning residents. So we've got a mix of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments. So even though there's 59 units, there'd be 105 estimated residents that we're projecting would have an average income of $71,000 per household. That would lead to significant spending and increased consumption within Newburgh, and that's something that really benefits everybody in the city. 105 new people moving here with a household income that we're projecting is of significant benefit. A lot of people, would love to live in this city, but without the right quality of housing to support that, the city's capped in how much it can grow. And I think there's a lot of people and a lot of projects that are benefiting that, but this is one of the most significant. And as we talked about, finishing this project off would be another significant signal towards Newburgh's revitalization that we can all see every day when we drive through the streets, and true potential to, we do have a real opportunity for this building to reach its full potential, and that's exciting. In addition, we all understand how challenging taxes are in this city. And a big part of that is the fact that there are so many sites that aren't paying taxes. So what we're proposing is a plan here that would generate $1.2 million in revenue for the city over the 15-year life of a pilot, which is what we need for this project to make sense, versus the previous 15 years. And if you wanted to go back a few hundred years of when this project was generating negligible revenue. So it's a massive upgrade from status quo that would significantly benefit all the residents of Newburgh, because we all know the only way we're getting out of the current tax situation is by increasing revenues to the city significantly. And so this would directly help reduce the burden for individuals, single-family homeowners, small business owners, because 1.2 million is a lot of money. The good thing about real estate is that this wouldn't be a one-shot revenue stream. This would occur for perpetuity if we completed this project, with annual payments reaching $300,000 and growing. And we're estimating an additional around 200 jobs that would be created throughout the development period of this project. Much needed jobs that we'll expand on more in terms of income and what that looks like. We're invested in the area in addition to other buildings that we own within Newburgh, and there's a handful. We acquired the site across the street on December 31st. It's about 25,000 square feet of commercial space, with a vision to create an ecosystem that supports the residents of the Foundry, supports the greater Liberty Corridor expansion, and also creates more of a destination for high quality development of knowledge workers and jobs, similar to what's happening down the block at Wireworks and Atlas Studios. And so this component of the project is, showing how invested we are in this general area, and that we are in a position to really change and upgrade a significant section of the city east of Liberty, extending what's already happening west of Liberty, and also bringing that a little further north. So that's exciting and something that we wanted to share as well. You've heard a lot about our team, maybe not. We talk about it sometimes when we get on these calls. So the main thing I want to focus on this slide is really just our philosophy. We're local. We live here. I live here. Andrew lives here. Keith grew up here. And, while I may not have as many generations under my belt personally as some of the other folks on this call do, I'm committed, and I'm buying a home here, and I'm building my family here, because I think Newburgh's an amazing place to be. And so while I haven't lived here for that long, you got to start somewhere. We're engaged and we're focused on how much we can contribute. It's not about how much we can take away and extract. It's what we can give and what we can provide and what we can support for this city. And we've got the right team of professionals and experts to take on a big project that's challenging. And so with the right group, we feel confident that we can execute on this. And you can see a bit about the backgrounds and different companies that our team has worked for. So we're bringing a diverse skill set of professional experience to help make this project successful. This is about more than one project. This is about what we can do for the city. Like I said, it's 105 new residents that would generate over 8 million, close to 8.5 million in consumption. That's a big number. We break that down in terms of how we calculated that in our full proposal. So I won't spend time dissecting the nuances here. That's a lot of support for local shops and local restaurants that extend beyond the walls of the Foundry to the rest of the city. Some more details on job creation. This project will create over 200 jobs. It's a mix of direct and indirect jobs. There's a full breakdown of how we came up with this analysis and these numbers as well in the proposal. I think the main takeaways that we wanted to share is that these are well-paying jobs with an average salary of $45,000 a year that would generate over 2.8 million in wages and benefits for folks who need work now more than ever, especially given what's been happening in the economy over the last 12 months, and generate substantial New York State income tax as a result, something we all can benefit from. This project is unique in terms of the fact that there's actually going to be limited city and county burden from an infrastructure and services perspective. There's a lot of significant infrastructure that's already in place that you don't have on all big development projects like this. We've already got improved streets, sewer and water and power that's all ready to be connected. So we don't have to, we're not expecting there to be a big financial commitment and investment of infrastructure to make this happen. There's sufficient parking on site. Some of it's in disrepair and we're going to take on the project of fixing that. But we'll have a total of 100 parking spots within the complex, so we don't put a burden on street parking. And there's no incremental waste management requirements since trash removal is all handled by a third-party operator. So why are we here? Why are we having this conversation with this group and this point? I wanted to take some time to share some of the benefits and we'll get more into that. But at this point, it's important to highlight how does a project like this come together from a dollars and cents perspective. In total, it's going to take about $21 million at least to take this project through to completion. It's a significant amount of money. It's a decent sized project. How it will be funded is a combination of historic tax credits for $5.5 million, a construction loan of $10.5 million, and equity from myself and the partners of about $5 million. So that's a huge investment, significant amount of funds that we need to invest. And on top of that, the financial risk and the financial investment, we're going to be investing years of our lives to see this project through. And we've already shown that commitment for the last 6 months or 4 months that we've worked on it since having the opportunity to participate in the project. And I know from looking around this room, there's other real estate developers and other folks who have taken on projects of various different scales and sizes. And you all know what it's like when you're at the cliff of deciding if you should jump in head first and take something on or not, and what it takes from a personal, energetic investment to see something through to completion. It's not easy, but we're the right team and we're committed and we're prepared to do that. And we need your help. And this project is not feasible from a financial perspective without support. By way of a pilot, I'll break down specifically on the next slides what that ask really looks like. But in order for us to have this be financially feasible from a financial perspective, and then also feasible from a time and energy investment perspective, we got to get some support to make this happen. So what we're looking for and what we need to bridge the gap for this project to make sense is a combination of sales tax exemption, mortgage recording tax exemption, and a pilot request. We understand the significance of this ask with respect to a pilot particularly, because like I mentioned before, we know how important tax revenue is to the city of Newburgh, and we want to do our part to help increase that and alleviate the burden for the whole city. And so we need a bridge to make this project feasible in order to get to a point where it's generating substantial revenues for the city. And along the way, we want to contribute as much as this project can support. And we'll break that down specifically on what that looks like. But I'll mention it does generate about 1.2 million in pilot revenue for the city in the way that it's proposed right now. The request is a net request of $550,000 over 15 years in kind of tax support from the city. And we calculated that in using the difference between what was available using a as of right RP 444A program, which is a program that you might be familiar with that is available as of right, and the tax structure that we've laid out in our proposal. So it's a relatively small gap compared to the amount of incremental revenue that's being generated. How we got to our calculation is we looked at the current assessed value of phase 1 and phase 2 at the Foundry. There's 61 units that are completed. The average assessed value at the project today is $59,000. The lowest value is just under $10,000, and the highest value is close to $94,000. We took a number that was, and there was really only one unit that was in that high value range. Most were below the $80,000 mark. Every single other unit was below $80,000, other than one unit that was at $94,000. And so what we did was we took the high water mark of $85,500 as an assessed value, and we worked our way up to hitting that number. Keep in mind that there's a broad range of unit sizes and unit types within phase 1 and phase 2. Some are really large, 3 bedrooms, some are smaller 1 bedrooms. And we applied that number to all of the units in phase 3, regardless of if they were larger or smaller, or 1s, 2s, or 3s. So we really took a conservative approach in making our request to this group, knowing how important tax revenue is to the city of Newburgh, and really only asking for the bare minimum that's reasonable and in order to make this project feasible. So this is what that ask looks like on an annual basis. You can see the first column here that shows how what the income would be for the city, or the relative proceeds would be for the city if this project did not happen. In total, there'd be $100,000 of revenue to the city over 15 years. This is the proposed pilot program that we've put together and is included in our proposal. You can see that the tax basis steps up significantly over the years to bring in 1.2, 1.3 million of revenue to the city. And it really stabilizes at close to $300,000, which it would stay and grow at in perpetuity. So the difference is substantial, $1.2 million difference, and the impact is really significant for the city. And again, like I said, we know taxes are important. We don't want to avoid paying taxes. We just need something that's a bridge for the project so that we can complete it. And we'll pay as much as we can along the way. Now, we also calculated what are the cost burdens for the city by having the additional residents. This is an estimate that we worked with a group to put together and is included in our proposal. This is the impact on the school district, assuming that of those 100+ residents, there was a number of children that were now attending schools that were funded out of funded by the city and the county. I think one of the major costs that's included here that we thought was conservative and prudent to at least consider as part of calculating the total cost for school and education each year was making sure that we accounted for at least one special needs child. The cost associated with special needs care is about $30,000 to $35,000 a year. So that makes up about half of the tax burden in our school calculation on an annual basis. And so the minimum increased benefit from the pilot on just a net dollar perspective, without considering any of the residual impact of having additional spending or the additional jobs, but just money coming in versus an estimated reserve for school costs, would be about $323,000 over the life of the pilot. So estimated project timeline, we've submitted our application to the Newburgh IDA. Thank you in advance for your review. At the end of February, and we could land on a date, we'd greatly appreciate if we could have a special meeting with this group to discuss your initial feedback on the proposal and identify if there are any major red flags or concerns or jubilation, who knows? And we'll see where we're at. March 4th is the deadline for our group to close on the acquisition of the Foundry Phase 3. Getting that indication from this group before closing is critical for us, because without a pilot, this project is not feasible and we would not be prepared to move forward. So that is why we have the request for the end of February, knowing you can't give us something that is 100% assured. We would like to engage with you to understand, at least after your review, what you see as being the path forward, and we can make our own informed decision. We'll start construction in spring or summer of 2022. That's a conservative estimate. We think it could be anywhere between 6 to 12 months post-closing for when we begin construction. It's tough to truly tell with the pace of working with different administrations in the current environment. And we'll deliver in summer or fall of 2023. So this isn't a project that's going to take too long, and is something that we hope to see the benefits of relatively quickly. So in summary, this is a significant opportunity for improved economic development. Just a quick highlight of some of the things I talked about. New housing for 105 high-earning new residents. Increased consumption by that group by over $8 million on an annual basis. Much needed job creation, over 200 jobs during the period of development of this project, and a permanently expanded tax base, which is one of the most critical components of this. So with that, I will open it to questions, comments, anything else we can share as a team to support this group in reviewing the application.
I just have a question and a comment. Thank you for providing the benefits. This is important, I think, for us to see. You guys are treated as a condo association, right? The assessments are based on a condo association. Is that correct? So
The-
that,
Yeah, the assessed value would be on an individual unit basis, correct?
right, but as a condo association, like the reason that I think some of them are lower is because condo association is assessed differently than a fee simple ownership in a house. But I'll look at that individually. I'll check in. But I think that that's part of why. My other question is the long-term projection. These are going to be rented out
Correct.
for a certain amount of time and then sold. Is that right?
Our plan is to rent them out for the foreseeable future, for as long as we're owners of it. We're going to be, renting it out. Beyond that, if there was a change of ownership, then it's our understanding and our team, Michelle and the team are working with Mr. McLaughlin to figure out what the nuance would be if these were sold to individual owners. We expect that the pilot benefit would not transfer to individual owners and would cease at the time of a transfer of ownership to an individual owner.
Okay,
So-
so that's it.
yeah.
That's an interesting factor. While you theoretically want 15 years, but if there's a chance that these units are sold before 15 years, if they don't stay rental for full 15 years, then the pilot would diminish as units were sold off.
Yeah, and in that case, the benefit to the city would actually, the full
Bruce.
tax burden rateable benefit would be realized sooner than 15 years, correct?
Right.
I would just thank you again for the presentation. I think it's, I look forward to reading the full application.
Thanks for the questions.
I'll just quickly jump in. So those on the Attic Labs team who I haven't met yet, I'm Katie Kemp, counsel to the IDA along with Bob McLaughlin. We've been working with your attorneys. We've had a good meeting with John and Michelle this past Friday to discuss the application. We've requested some additional information from them, and we have a standing meeting with them going forward every Friday so we can keep the ball moving. I think as we all know, this is an atypical project because of the condo aspect and just residential in general. So, we're working together to make sure the board's doing its due diligence and, we're all comfortable moving forward. But, at this point, we're all just taking our initial review and, we look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you.
I want to say, if you can hear me, because they're practicing upstairs again, I really appreciated the burden on the school district breakdown. That's the first time I've seen something like that. And that might be because I'm newer on the block than some people, but and I appreciate that you put children that require special needs in there as well. That's super important. So I was just very impressed to see that, and I appreciate that. And look, it's a very exciting project. I'm glad you guys have formally applied.
Thank you. Yeah, we wanted to make this as informed as possible, and everybody can go into this with eyes wide open on what the benefits are, what the costs are. Don't want you guys to have any guesswork on that side, and we can come together and make the right decision.
And just to pull those last two comments together, Austin and Katie, I think when you look through, and Katie's had the advantage of being able to look through the materials so far, and we are going to supplement that with some things that they requested last Friday. But the application is very thorough. So a lot of the things that Jake hit in the cover, tonight are described in more detail in what those assumptions were and how we got to the cost burden. So I think you'll find that there's a lot there for you for your due diligence.
We're going to have to figure out the meeting thing. We just scheduled a special meeting for next week. And I think maybe, I don't think there's any chance of us addressing this during that meeting. While that would be nice to consolidate, it may just be the case that we have another special meeting closer to the end of the month. I don't want to overburden my board members or myself for that matter, but if we've got this kind of stuff going on, then we have it going on, and well, I'll try to look at it as being excited that these kinds of things are happening, that we have to kind of take this kind of time these days. It's a lot better than 6-7 years ago when I was first on the board and I was bored out of my mind. So I guess we'll get back. We'll coordinate as a board and let you know what we can do there, but I'm sure we can accommodate the timeline that you need on that.
Thank you so much, Austin, and to the rest of the board for being willing to jump in and make extra time for this. Really appreciate it.
All right. Does anybody else have any other questions for the Attic Labs crew?
No.
All right. Well, I think that does it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Great presentation. And I think that concludes our meeting, right? Only thing left is a motion to adjourn. If anybody wants to come to 299 Washington Street and have a dance party, apparently it's happening.
Adjourning seems to be my job, so I make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you, Nancy. Do I have a second? All right, Chrissy, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Too bad. All right, have a good night, everybody. Stay
night.
Thank you.
warm, stay safe.
Right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.